I'd like to now invite up Mr. Michael Young from Google Cloud to talk to us about what Google Cloud is up to with blockchain. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Ivan, for the invitation. It's my pleasure to share something here. Okay, thank you. My name is Michael Young, a strategic advisor of Google Cloud. My job basically is to help the enterprises around APAC to innovate and transform with cloud technology. So today I'll talk about Web3. Just earlier that King mentioned about we are still in the early stage of Web3 and blockchain technology, and that's right. But again, we all in this room can see the engagement and also the people are so positive in that technology, even though the blockchain is for around 14 years already for the white paper, but in a way it's still young. And in fact, from Web 2 to Web 3, there are quite a lot of changes. But in Google, we invested a lot of money, and Alan just said $6 billion investment so far this year, and Google alone invested $1.5 billion just in startup. But at the same time, we set up two teams. One is what we call the Web3 team. Another one is what we call the digital asset team. Because again, we don't believe that exactly cryptocurrency is everything about the future. But digital asset can be NFT, can be currency, can be our personal information as well. So Web 2 and Web 3, the major differences are some key items like wallets, tokens, smart contract, and the way we distribute data. And that's quite different between the Web 2 and the Web 3 world. But in terms of technology, there are different layers like the infrastructure layer and also the network layer. You probably heard about the P2P network or the protocol IPFS to store all the data. And then going up with the service layer, we have bridges to different chains. And of course, we have, if you're running a smart contract applications, sometimes you'd like to talk to Oracle to collect some data from other chains as well and from other data provider. And of course, smart contract. And smart contract is something that, to me, is something that really can revolutionize business logic in a way that we can, on one hand, forget about settlement reconciliation, but at the same time, we are running the smart contract speedily across many computers in the network. And then going up, the APIs, frameworks, and native languages like Solidity, and of course, some others like Go or even JavaScript nowadays can run on top of that. And then we have the customer-facing layer. So the wallet, the browsers, the decentralized apps, and of course, DAOs. I think we are running like pretty much like a DAOs, like a setup of 50 founding members for the BSN. So for this Web3 architecture, how we can help as a cloud services provider. The three challenges we need to really spend time and also some resources into it, such as the transaction performance, the stability, and also the security. That I will go through this quickly one by one. Transactional performance. You probably see this screen every single day, probably. For me, whenever people ask me, or my friends or my family members, hey, Michael, could you fix that router or a printer, or I can't access to internet, that's fine. I will set up all those for them. But what will be the first web page you visit after you set it up? Likely will be this one. When you see that screen, it basically says internet is working. So, of course, internet is not only the search engine, and Google is not only the search engine. We have billions of active users every single day in our searching engine, our maps, YouTube, and everything of them is running on Google Cloud. And the Google Cloud, of course, is also available to you all as well. And that is the power of Google Cloud to support billions of active users every single day. So first of all, in terms of performance, we talk about the infrastructure, the powerful compute. There are a couple of products here, but I don't go through those in details. But something that will auto-scale, highly auto-scale in a matter of seconds, and also global networking. Even as of today, 30% of all internet traffic around the planet go through Google Network, and 30% of them. And that is power of Google's private network to run the internet and also the Google Cloud. Most of the cloud provider have the network like this, but for Google, we build our own network such that you don't need to go through many hops or many pops to reach the destination, or from your customer to your cloud services as well. And this is our Google Cloud Network. And of course, in Hong Kong, we have region, and then in Southeast Asia, we also have many regions. In fact, 3 new ones in Thailand, Malaysia, and New Zealand this year. And about the scalability, I'm not sure many of you will look at the scalability like the nodes. We are talking about 15K node scalability in a matter of seconds. And also Kubernetes, in fact, is the invention of Google. So no matter which version of a Kubernetes you're using one of our previous version. This latest version is with Google Cloud. And of course, all these nodes are auto-repair, auto-scaling, and auto-upgrade without your system going down. Everything is upgrade on the fly. And then the next scalability is about data. Like blockchain.com, they have about 40 million wallets around the world and scattered all around our regions in the planet. And so your data, of course, you have a data sovereignty choices as well. But then again, your data can be, if you're running a international business, your data can be scattered around the world without any problem. And then for security, again, couple of products here, but I'm not sure you are aware that just 3 months ago, 1st of June, there was the world's largest DDoS attack, about 60 million RPS, 60 million requests per second to attack one of our customers. But the Google Cloud, of course, no problem, and our customer keep on running their business. So imagine you're running a infrastructure that can stand at least 60 million DDoS attack requests per second. And this is, all these products can help you to protect your infrastructure and your applications. And like Ethan mentioned earlier, holding your private key is the key. Even though Google have all the data encrypted by default, whether it's transit or whether it's a data at rest, but you also have an option to keep your own private key in your HSM instead of storing the private key in the cloud. Our cloud is secure, but if you prefer, you can store your private key with yourself. That is one of the reasons that we can let that decision or option to the customers. And one thing I didn't mention in the first 3 things is, in fact, the sustainability or green computing. In the last 15 years, we have already carbon neutral since 2007. But since 2017, 5 years back, we are using 100% renewable energy. And of course, we are targeting 2030 will be carbon zero. But today, if you put your applications, your virtual data center in Google Cloud, you're already carbon neutral by default. That's something that you may want to consider for your company's future reputation, for example. And then before I wrap up, just 4 examples. One is Dapper Labs, the big names behind Flow, and also the NBA, and NFL, SCMP, CNN, Times Magazine. They all have their Flow in GCP. They look for scalability and management, and they use our compute engine. Block.one, that is a very popular blockchain investment firm. everything they want is to be encrypted and private, and therefore they deployed our confidential VMs and confidential GKE nodes. Everything is compute, even in the memory and CPU compute level, are all encrypted. And then Feeder Labs, they also are looking for something to help them to do real-time streaming, because they do a lot of cross-chain data and smart contract data. And this is something that if you want to connect your data to external world, to the off-chain world, something that you can consider that with the throughput like Feeder Labs. And lastly is Chainlink. Again, Chainlink is something that provide cross-chain APIs and also link API to the Oracle. So if they also all in GCP, and again, if you want to have a real-time streaming analytics, Chainlink is one example or one reference site you can look at. But still, what's the role of Google Cloud in this world of Web3? We, similar to the grand plans of BSN, we just want to support and thrive the Web3 builders and enterprises as an infrastructure solution provider. So other than providing the infrastructure, we also being a collaborator in the Web3 ecosystem, such as we fund startup. So if you are a Web3 startup, we fund about $100,000 as a start for credit to help you to innovate your idea, to put it in Google Cloud and try validate your idea. And once your idea is validated, we have the accelerator program to help you to do application modernization, how you can move your current applications to a modern day cloud technologies. And of course, we work with VCs and crypto VCs to support the growth. Just like I mentioned, so far this year, we invested $1.5 billion already in those startups through our Google Venture. And lastly, we help the startup to do the GTM, the go-to-market, and also co-marketing events. So anything if you are interested in, just let us know, and maybe we can help you or help us in one of these different ways to collaborate in the Web3 world. Last but not least, always to Google is 10x to the moon. So hopefully we can ride the rocket. And I heard about a line before. If you know you're flying a rocket, don't care about what you're doing in the rocket. Just take it a ride, okay? And let's do it to the moon, Web3. Thank you.